I'm Audrey Redmond, and I'm with TVC 22, and we're here at the Museum of History, and we're at the AGA, the Annual General Assembly of the Métis Nation of Ontario 2023.
We had 100 Métis youth gathered, and they had time to spend with knowledge holders and to really share a lot, and I want to acknowledge all those people that came to support that. But I really want to do a shout out. The Youth Council began last year issuing a Métis Youth Leadership Award, and this afternoon they presented that award to Hayden Stenland, and I wanted to acknowledge Hayden. You look at leaders like Hayden and those others that we're gathering today, and not just from the Métis Frontier, we've got Autumn and Danielle and Mary here from other Métis governments as well. We are in very good hands heading into the future. So with that, I want to say welcome to all of you, and I'm really looking forward to the next 2 days. I hope you have a wonderful evening this evening, and with that, I'll turn it back over to our chair. Merci.
Oh, come on. So I would ask that we have our host community president, Josh, to come up and say some welcoming. Eric is the president of the Ottawa Regional Council. So Eric, if you could come up and welcome, I would greatly appreciate it.
Can you hear me all right? Usually I'll talk loudly. Bonsoir, bienvenue à tous. Je m'appelle Josh. I'm the council president for the Ottawa region. This morning, I welcome all the presidents to Ottawa. Tonight, I'm welcoming you to the National Capital Region Day in singular. Those of us who live here do not see the river other than being a great geographic feature as being a divide. This is one city. So welcome to the National Capital Region. I want you all to imagine for a minute. In the library in Archives Canada, there's a painting from 1842, right in front of the Rideau Canal, where it empties in, right behind it. And there are two Métis gentlemen in a canoe going up the river. It is a beautiful picture that highlights the importance of the Ottawa River to us, and that continues to be a great, great thing. So, on behalf of our council, the 1,800 or so citizens in the Ottawa region, which includes part of the National Capital Region, and Region 6 more broadly, thank you, welcome. And I also say that spirits of our ancestors going up and down this river are probably with us tonight as well, and are looking on and very pleased. So bienvenue, thank you for coming.
Okay, next up, we're going to have Mr. Roddy Pally, but he's smudging outside right now. So I'm going to ask that please welcome to the stage MP Jamie Schmale. Jamie is the Shadow Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations and Vice Chair of the Standing Committee on Indigenous and Northern Affairs. So, Jamie.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank President Thoreau, all the council, the senators, and all the volunteers for their hard work. It is truly amazing what you have done in the past, and happy 30th anniversary, of course. That is pretty impressive. And to see what the Métis Nation of Ontario has built has been truly remarkable. And to President Caron for her leadership nationally, her friends from Alberta, they're doing a great job advocating for Métis right across this country. And I want to thank all three presidents, I guess, for the hospitality. I was able to go to Batoche a few months ago and see that and see the settlements of President Caron's family and hear firsthand the struggles that her family went through. So I appreciate her time and the presidents from each of the provinces who were able to give up their time and share their message. But it's because of leadership like this, of what's going on in these provinces, that they're able to educate politicians and help advocate for members in their community. They're doing a tremendous job, and I want to thank them very, very much. And I hope to continue to working with them and to having discussions through committee and other things that come up. But also say have a great conference, and hope to see each and every one of you, and hope we have some great conversations today. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Not like past, we actually have the gifts here, so I can't say they're in the mail. So this here is art by one of our Métis artists, Kelly Duquette. It says presented by the Métis Nation of Ontario, and it has our 30th anniversary. So this is what we are giving to the dignitaries. So I've asked Region 7 Council to solemnly come up to present Jeannie with a gift from the Métis Nation of Ontario. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you now to please join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Roddy Powley. As many of you know, in 1993, Steve and Roddy Powley killed a moose outside of Sault Ste. Marie to feed their family over the winter, and were charged by the Ontario Conservation Officers as contravening Ontario's Game and Fishing Act. The MNO decided to use the charges against the Powleys as a test case, providing full political and financial support throughout, from trial all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada in 2003. The Supreme Court of Canada recognized that modern-day Métis communities may possess Aboriginal rights protected by Section 35 of the Constitution Act, based on their pretty effective control practices, customs, and traditions that are integral to their distinctive existence and relationships to the land that persist to the present day. The court concluded that the Métis community in and around Sault Ste. Marie have an Aboriginal right to hunt for food under Section 35. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the landmark Métis rights decision in Hart versus Powley. So please, a warm welcome for Roddy Powley, please.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to be here tonight. Like I said, say thank you, and hopefully we all have good meetings coming up for the rest of the week, and we get positive thoughts and thinking going on. And I'm actually not good with speeches, but I'll just thank everybody. Like, we can get things done. It was not just for one person, it was done for all of us. And basically, appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
We are fortunate that we have our founding president, we have our second president, and our third president of the Métis Nation of Ontario here today, and they will present Roddy with the
Me, shy? I first of all want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, who that nation has been very supportive of the Métis Nation of Ontario in years past. And hoping and looking forward to that continuing in the future. Our struggle for recognition of our rights was a tough one. It was tough on a lot of people, but not the least of whom was Steve, Ronnie, and their family. It was a huge, a lot to bear for them. They knew the consequences of this. Never forget Steve saying, after all we had won at the Supreme Court of Canada, that he was doing this for us. He was doing this for our people. It was a tremendous gift that the Paulies have given to us. It's an honor for me to still be here and to see Steve, or to see Ronnie receive this honor, and the entire Pauli family to receive the honor and acknowledgement that our people are giving to them, so justly deserved. Merci.
I've had the privilege to serve under three great presidents, so I'm happy to be here. And next, I would like to invite up to the stage former President Lipinski.
Thank you, Hank, and I couldn't be more delighted to be here as well. It's a particular moment to pay a special tribute to Roddy and really the entire Pauli family. For some people, may look at it as a narrow victory to recognize their Métis rights, but in reality, the Pauli struggle, our struggle, was much more than that. And I know we're going to be talking a lot about the 20-year celebration, but really it's been a 30-year journey, because that 10-year struggle to ultimately get the Supreme Court began about the same time, and was really instrumental in helping us coalesce as Métis people in Ontario to come together to recognize that was more than just a Sault Ste. Marie issue to get that community's rights recognized in this. It was a uniting force for us across the Métis Nation of Ontario, and to a large extent even with regard to Métis Nations. And it brought us all together to say that we need to come together to fight this battle and take it all to the Supreme Court if we need to, because this injustice needs to end. So we celebrated as a victory for our harvesting rights, rightfully so. But we also should recognize it as the uniting force that brought us all together collectively across the province, to recognizing that there's strength in numbers by working together and through these issues. And certainly, as former President Belcourt said, I couldn't agree more. The Pauli family took on a tremendous burden. Steve and Roddy in particular, because they were named as co-defendants, but Brenda and Kim as well, that whole family. Many of us would recognize the potential racism and discrimination that one would face trying to advance that issue, an Indigenous issue, Métis rights. They don't exist. The nerve of those people. And then have that, going into communities and face those types of realities. And I can say that the family did an incredible job throughout this whole journey. And particularly, I had the opportunity to speak with Brenda very briefly, and I reflected, as she did as well, on the openness that family had. And very often, I would find myself, and Tony as well, sometimes on the road for days on end. And I can tell you, it was wonderful that Brenda would open the house up. I would have a nice home-cooked chicken meal, just like my mom would make. And it was just the wonderful, warming attitude that they have. And I'm on cholesterol pills now. But that's just the type of the people there. They carried this water for us. And Steve even went on to mention, Steve was there beside us, beside me, through the negotiations with the Ontario government and the Ministry of Natural Resources to get the harvesting agreement implemented. Steve was part of that negotiation table right through. He was there. And so once again, Roddy, half of the whole Pauli family, it's wonderful that you're getting this recognition. Thank you for your service.
It's so nice to see that Gary's actually getting some natural color back in his hair since he left the M&O. I would like to now ask the current president, President Ford, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Again, I would echo Presidents Belcourt and Lipinski. We all owe a huge debt to the Powley family, to Roddy, to Steve, and will continue to build on that incredible milestone. So again, thank you, Roddy, thank you, Brenda, Kim, Braden, Memphis, all of you. It's so wonderful to have you all with us, and we look forward to the next time we have Roddy up here speaking to us at an assembly. This is a rare and wonderful experience. So thank you again, Roddy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Please join me in welcoming to the stage a longtime friend of the Métis Nation of Ontario, MP Carolyn Bennett, former Minister of Crown and Indigenous Relations, Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, and Associate Minister of Health. So, Carolyn, please come.
Bonsoir tout le monde, c'est un grand plaisir d'être parmi vous encore une fois ce soir. Thank you, Hank, and thank you, the Senator and Elder, for the beautiful prayer and reminding us of the river and the ancestors and how important it is when we come together here. It is as our host said, this is amazing. All of us being here in this room and this beautiful space and having come off the river, it just is, I think, as Jamie said, this is a pretty neat thing, getting to just come be on the river and have a grand entry like we've never had before. And we're here with Jamie and Mark Sari, the MPs, but to see Tony and Cassidy and Audrey and Gary and to meet Rodney, that's so amazing. And also to congratulate President Fro for the amazing work that you've done. It's so 40 years of MNC and 30 years of MNO and the amazing Powley decision that really was able to inform a lot of what we were able to do in government, because it really isn't about geography, it's about rights, and it's about people who hold Section 35 rights, and that made my job very much easier. And I just think that for those of us who come, or whose spiritual center is the Georgian Bay and the North Channel, and to be up to the Sioux and Drummond Island, that you think that it's part of Canadian history that people don't understand. My cottage at Thunder Beach has the Labatt Cottage, has the first, yay! That this, we'll have our rendezvous this Saturday with the fish fry from the Lepage, the Fisher people. We will listen to Basil Lafreniere and his fiddle. We will be able to understand that why the Powley decision was so important was because these amazing people carried on their culture, carried on their pride in the Métis culture and language, and with friends like Tony and all the people moving on the Michif language, that this is hugely important. I think when I look at Mitch and I think of the work that and to hear about the Youth Council now coming together, beating and jigging and learning their language, that everything that I was trying to do in not only in both ministries but even in public health, that secure personal cultural identity. When people are proud of who they are, they make good decisions, good healthy decisions, and it is about that self-esteem and sense of control over your life, and the ability to be proud of who you are is the most important thing in how people go forward with dignity and pride. And so I just want to say that from my first, I think, AGA in Parry Sound to a couple in the Sioux and a couple here and one in Toronto and then the one where we made me bring my own canoe in Penetangleshi. But it is, you know, everything that you have had in your vision in terms of aspire to attain our highest potential. You are doing it with your registry and the education and that amazing session you did during COVID on parenting that is just so important in terms of how you're transforming a people's to be able to come together and be proud of who they are and no longer be the forgotten people and to be able to come out of the shadows. So I am just saying that to look down at Rita and be, where did she go? There she is. And think of, you know, what is just the epitome of elder, not elderly. It is about, you've taught me I want to go and be like you. This is about age having nothing to do with date of birth. I think of the beautiful words when at the inauguration of Christie's beautiful stained glass window and over the door of Center Block, and we look forward to be able to get back there. So every member of Parliament has to walk underneath that stained glass window. And so I just want to say that to aspire to your highest potential has meant that you're inspiring all of us to actually do better and to make sure that we are part as allies to the continued fight for your identity, for your rights, and it is your passion and diligence that's got you this far. And I know every one of us in Parliament wants to just help continue going there. These are your friends for life, you know, from Joanne welcoming me the first time to Sharon continuing to boss us all around. This is hugely important, I think, as it's what friends do, and I hope that I will always be considered a friend, and I look forward to coming back. I think you said I had to come back every year, so I will.
So just so everyone's aware, Minister Métis will not be seeking re-election, but I would like to move a motion that she be considered the honorary dignitary to come up to every one of our AGAs and help Parliament.
You know, we do a lot of work with other governments, including the Government of Canada, and we work to develop with all parties, with all governments, true partnerships. And I think that the relationship that we've established with Dr. Carolyn Benning over the course of the last 30 years, I think she's been in office since about the 1930s. It seems like a very long time. 26 years, almost as long as President Honoré Baccarat. I think that Carolyn has shown over and over again that she is absolutely a friend to the Métis Nation. And in fact, our joke is within the Métis Nation of Ontario, we were at our assembly in Midland about 8 years ago, and we were shy on canoe space for the grand entry. And Carolyn very graciously said, "I'll bring my canoe," and she literally brought her canoe. So that's the new standard, just for Jamie and others, right? We're looking for partners that will literally bring their own canoe to ensure that we do make it down the river together. So on behalf of the Métis Nation of Ontario, on behalf of our PCMNO and all of our citizens, we have a little extra gift for you tonight, Carolyn, as well as the beautiful painting by Métis artist Kelly Duquette. But we hope that you wear this in good health, and we look forward to you bringing your canoe next year when we are in Penetangleshi. Have a seat.
So I got a really good
I think
announcement.
people want to take pictures with it. No?
Platters of food are being circulated throughout the event, so I know everybody's been waiting for food, so it's starting to come out. There are 3 buses that will be coming and leaving at 7, 8, and 9. And there's more seating over here to my right if you want to find some more seating. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Steve DeRoche, Councillor of the Gloucester South Nepean Ward of Ottawa. Steve? Steve was in my opinion, so he's okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. It's an honor for me to be here tonight as a city councillor for the city of Ottawa. I was deputy mayor of the city of Ottawa for 8 years. It was a great honor. In that capacity, I had the opportunity to welcome many groups and tourists to the city of Ottawa. And it's every now and then I get to welcome a group that's very personal to me, and this is one such occasion. I'm a very proud member of the Métis community in Ontario. I'm originally from the Penetanguishene area. Moved here to raise my family and to go to school. So this is a great honor to speak to you this evening. And our mayor, Mark Sutcliffe, will be speaking to you tomorrow, and I think welcoming you officially within the city of Ottawa to the national capital. This is also very personal because I had the great honor also of serving on the Ottawa Region Métis Council before being elected to the City Council. And it was during a difficult time with the pandemic, and what I saw as a result of that experience was a community coming together to support citizens, to support neighbors. And I was very proud to serve with the members of the Ottawa Region Métis Council under the leadership of Eric, who we heard from this evening, and Senator Parham, who's a great spokesperson for the community and a great leader in the city of Ottawa. And part of the spark, I think, for having me simply here was our efforts to suggest and recommend that because of this important Supreme Court decision, policy decision, that you have it here in this assembly in the city of Ottawa in the shadows of the Supreme Court, because that was such a watermark decision for this community. So I'm so thrilled that you're here. We had suggested on a Zoom call with Margaret, and it was at a time when we were meeting during the occupation and protests downtown. And again, tremendously impressed with the amount of compassion and care that Margaret and her team put into serving the Métis citizens here in Ottawa during that very difficult time. And your participation here today is really part, I think, of that cleansing, that terrible experience for so many people, especially Métis citizens, who lived in fear and who lived with great uncertainty. And so part of the spark was during that time, and the suggestion was to, again, let's reset the space for all Canadians to come here and to meet as Canadians and to have a very positive and constructive dialogue, which we are now doing with the pandemic now behind us. So thank you again. I look forward to talking to many of you. Bienvenue à Ottawa. Je suis très fier que vous êtes ici, très content. And I know you've got a really great program, and I look forward to talking to you in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Our Region Peace Middle Resistance Councillor Andy Dufresne will be presenting the gift to Steve.
Thank you very much, Chair Hank. Welcome, everyone. We have traveled many hard roads to be here. Each one of us has traveled over the waterways as well to be in this beautiful city of Ottawa at the AGA. All our Métis citizens give something of themselves to make this possible. Each one of us in our hearts add to this beautiful movement we have pushing us ahead. I had the pleasure today to be reintroduced to Steve DeRoche. He is a Ottawa councillor, but before this he was actually on the Ottawa Council as well, for the Métis Council. It was Steve's idea to propose the proposal for the AGA to be held in Ottawa. And these are the types of the spirit we get within our people, is to bring us together. He's a hardworking individual. I'm so honored and pleased to be able to present him with this beautiful picture on behalf of the Métis Nation, our citizens, our families, and especially our youth. So Steve, I wish you to set this for us.
So I'm going to reintroduce Bob Watts. Bob is the VP of Indigenous Relations and Strategic Programs for Nuclear Waste. So please, Bob, come to the... Oh, there he is.
Bonjour, Sego. Commercial work in magazine Disney Cars na Cordova. Just wanted to say to merci to Senator Raval for those really good words to bring us all together this evening in such a good way, and to thank the chair for the good work that he's doing. I want to recognize a few people here, of course, President Fro, and acknowledge all the work that she's doing. Carolyn Bennett, who I've had a chance to work with in a few different capacities for quite a number of years. Then they said, well, what dignitaries are here? I said, well, Tony Goldbush. So don't mention anybody else but Tony, make sure you get Tony's name. So Tony, good to see you. You know, I was thinking about this anniversary and thinking about, you know, it was in the late 80s when I was working with the province of Ontario. We started working on the Métis registry at that time. And to see what's happened in Ontario with the Métis, with the institutions it builds, and the pride and citizenship that just continues to grow and grow, it's pretty remarkable, pretty inspiring. So I want to acknowledge that. And of course, to acknowledge Cassidy Perron and all of the Métis leadership that are here, Métis citizens from across the province. I'm here representing the Nuclear Waste Management Organization. I want to thank the BCMNO for inviting us back here again to this 30th Assembly, 30th Annual Assembly, and also marking the anniversary of the Powley case. So it's a pretty big deal, and we're really pleased to be here and to acknowledge this territory that we're in. The unceded, unsurrendered land of the Algonquin people, but the fact that there's people here from all over the world, and it's a safe place. It's a place where we can gather the way that we're gathering here this evening, and that's a tribute to that love and kindness and caring that so many Indigenous nations have put into this land over thousands and thousands of years, and we're all the beneficiaries of that. So I want to acknowledge that and the different Indigenous nations that are here from all over the country, in particular Métis people and MNO Region 6 residents and citizens who reside here. Just want to say that we have a booth set up here at the trade show. I just want to invite you to come by and learn about the work that we're doing. We've had the great benefit and joy of working with MNO and the regions since 2005. So we have a pretty long sort of corporate Indigenous relationship with the Métis in this province. Continue to have pretty concerted effort being done with Region 7, Region 1, and we're grateful for that opportunity. I just want to say a little bit about that canoe and those canoes coming in here and the wonderful symbolism of the canoe, both for Métis people, but for the growth of this country as a whole and the great role that we're playing in that. I'm part of a project right now working with some Indigenous knowledge holders and some scientists and engineers from the NWO, and we're building a canoe together. And we're learning Indigenous knowledge, we're learning Indigenous science, Indigenous engineering, Indigenous craftsmanship, and thinking about what does that mean in terms of the work that you're doing and the scientific basis and technical basis for the work of safely managing Canada's used nuclear fuel. So it's a really great opportunity for all of us to put that idea of aligning Indigenous knowledge and Western science into practice. We're grateful for the opportunity to help out with this assembly, but also for the work that we're doing in some of the regions in terms of addressing issues like food insecurity, investing in Métis youth, and helping them reach their aspirational goals. So we're really grateful for the generosity and hospitality that we've been shown by Métis citizens right across this province, and I've had the opportunity to benefit from that directly. So I just want to say, merci to each and every one of you. I wish you a really wonderful assembly and a wonderful celebration. And again, we wish you'll have you visit our booth, don't forget. Thank you.
First off, Bob, I wanted to apologize for not acknowledging you right off the bat. Our plane was delayed, so we weren't sure that you were in the room, so that's why I started calling out other staff that I knew were here, so we wanted to make sure that we did acknowledge Nuclear Waste Management Organization. And I would like to thank you, your staff, and the organization for sponsoring the M&O AGA for several years, and your commitment to engaging with consultation for both Region 1 and Region 7. So on behalf of the M&O and Region 1 and Region 7, happy to present you with this painting from the lovely Kelly Duquette, who's originally from the Atikokan Métis Council. And she's a fantastic artist. So thank you very much to you, for yourself and the Nuclear Waste Management Organization.
So our last speaker, please join me in welcoming to the stage Sean Vander Klis, Director of Business Development Indigenous Markets for Meridian Credit Union. Meridian are banking partners of the M&O and a sponsor of the AGA. So, Sean.
How's everyone doing? Can you hear me okay? I need to do. My name's Sean Davis. I'm from Curve Lake First Nations. And I have to admit that I think I've been here just as long as Minister Bennett over there. My first AGM happened to be in 2012. And I was here in the form of a staff member. I used to work in the Employment and Training Department for the Métis Nation of Ontario. So with that being said, from a staff perspective, I want everybody here to give a round of applause for all the staff who worked tirelessly over the last year to make this 30th Annual General Assembly as special as it is. I also want to take the time to acknowledge the traditional territory that we're on, the unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation, as well as the Anishinaabe Nation. It's an absolute pleasure to be here on behalf of Meridian Credit Union to serve as your lead sponsor for your 30th Annual General Assembly. I'm a little out of breath because I'm not as young as I once was. I made that run all the way over there. I thought logically, if I sat closer to the food, I'd get to eat quicker. But that means I had to run farther to get up on stage. The Meridian Credit Union is in a process of discovery and evolution, my apologies. We are realizing that financial institutions historically have not been a good place for Indigenous people. We realize that there are systemic barriers that plague our people from achieving intergenerational wealth. It's our commitment as the second largest credit union in the province of Ontario, as well as the second largest in the country of Canada, the first largest in the province of Ontario, to achieve economic reconciliation for all of our Indigenous organizations, for the Métis Nation of Ontario, but more importantly, for our citizens. I'd like to take the time to acknowledge all the elders who are here, the language speakers who are here, the singers and dancers and all the artists who are here. I wish you, on behalf of Meridian Credit Union, a wonderful annual General Assembly meeting. I look forward to the spirited debate that's going to ensue over the next couple of days, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So we do have a booth. We will be here. Come say hi to myself. Come say hi to my handsome young colleague over here. And we will see you in the near future.
On behalf of the Region 3 and the Métis Nation of Ontario, I'd like to thank you for the board.
So that concludes our speakers for this evening. I'm not too sure if a lot of you are aware, but we lost a good friend to the Métis Nation of Ontario, Mr. Doug Wilson, passed away just recently. His celebration of life was today. So if I can ask for a minute of silence. Guys? Thank you, everyone. That's it for me for tonight. I'm going to turn it over to our MC, and again, please go enjoy some finger foods over there, and we're going to have some entertainment for you. So.
I'm Audrey Redmond with TVC 22, and I'm talking to Mitch Case at the Métis Nation of Ontario AGA. That's the Annual General Assembly 2023. And we're here at the Museum of History. Mitch, this is an exciting time for you. Can you tell us it's the 30th anniversary, and what does that mean to you?
It is. This 2023 is actually a really important year for us. It is the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Métis National Council, the 30th anniversary of the founding of the Métis Nation of Ontario, and the 20th anniversary of the Supreme Court decision that recognized Métis harvesting rights in Section 35 of the Constitution. So I'm the regional councillor for the Huron Superior community, also known as Region 4, which is the home of the Pauli case. It was two members of my community who stood up and challenged that, oppressive law that meant that our families couldn't feed themselves the way they always had, and it's a really important year for us. Yeah.
And explain what that Pauli case was.
Sure. So prior to 1993, Métis harvesters were charged by the fish and game officers for harvesting without a license, and they were treated like common criminals, right? And so in 1993, two of our community members, Steve and Roddy, and his son Roddy Pauli, they said enough's enough. This is the way our families have always lived. We are not criminals. We are proud citizens of a nation, and we're going to go out and exercise that right. And they did, and they were charged. And rather than pay the fine, they said, we're going to fight this thing. And so the Métis Nation of Ontario, as the government of the Métis communities in Ontario, stood behind them and said, okay, we'll back you. And we went all the way to the Supreme Court.
And that has a lot to do with identity, I've noticed. And what does that mean to a Métis?
Sure. So, I mean, for us, like growing up in the community where I grew up, we have a really strong sense of our history. We, the history of our river lots and the history of the way that we organized our communities, and that lives on today, right? When you look at Steve and Roddy Pauli, they were charged in 93. About 120 years before that, Steve's great-grandfather was charged in the Micah Bay incident for standing up for Métis rights in 1849, right? We've never forgotten those things. Canada might have forgot, Ontario might have forgot. We didn't forget. We've got a pretty good memory, so.
And I noticed too that, it took you this long with going through the courts. You entered the Supreme Court of Canada in 2003, and you just had another passing of having to do with your governance in June 21st, 2023. What does that entail?
So that it hasn't gone through final reading yet. There's one more reading in the House we've got to get through this fall, but it's done its first and second reading of Bill C-53, and that's self-government recognition legislation for the Métis Nation of Ontario, Métis Nation Saskatchewan, and the Métis Nation of Alberta. And it recognizes, from Canada's perspective, we are firmly of the belief that we have always had the right to govern ourselves. That's an inherent right that belongs to us as a people. But Canada's laws need to change in order to recognize that. And so the legislation, it's the same as the there's, I think, 26 different self-government recognition legislation for First Nations and Inuit communities. And so these are the first Métis self-government recognition legislations. And for us, it's pretty exciting to know that, the way that our communities, the way that our leaders have persevered and protected and defended those rights. And so much so that, even after a century and a half of trying to ignore us, Canada can't ignore us anymore. They have to deal with us. And so I'm looking forward to being back here in Ottawa in a month or so from now and seeing the House and the Senate pass that legislation and recognize in their law our right to govern ourselves. It's pretty cool.
I was looking through, because of the identity has to do with your ancestry as well. Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So, our registry, going back to the Pauli decision, right? When the Supreme Court made that decision, they recognized that there are Métis rights recognized in the Constitution, but not just anyone can stand up and say, "Oh, I'm Métis." And so there is a three-part test to determine, whether or not you belong to a rights-bearing community. And we're not only the home of that test, we apply that test. And, we are a government that represents, those historic communities here in Ontario. And, 5,000 of our citizens are Métis folks from Western Canada who, for various reasons, have moved to Ontario for work or school or, fell in love, whatever reason they moved here. And they see Métis Nation of Ontario as their modern government, right? They might be from Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, but they live here and they're part of our communities today.
And I've also noticed that the Métis historically come from the French and the Indigenous people here. And the Métis align themselves with the way of life of the Indigenous people.
Yeah, absolutely. And created their own way of life, their own worldview, their own, those things that we're so proud of, right? And that, 150, 200 years later, we're still holding on to those unique fiddle tunes and those things that mean so much to us, right? And, even in my home community, right? So historically, we lived on these river lots, these long, narrow river lots that allowed every family access to that source of the river for water, for travel, for economy, right? That it shows something about the way that we think a community should be. That everyone is treated equally. Everyone has equal access to those resources. And we still, even though our river lots were taken away, that's still the way we try to organize ourselves, right?
That's what I was going to bring attention to, because as Indigenous people, our connection is to the land. And I noticed that with the Métis people too, the connection is with the land. And there are very similar experiences of why Native people and the Métis people didn't have land for so long or had small parcels of land. And the Métis, in order for them to be able to get land, they had to deny that they had any Indigenous blood, right?
Yeah, and the history of the treaty promises that were made to Métis communities in Ontario, in my community in Sault Ste. Marie in 1850, and in Treaty 3 in 1875. Those promises that were never kept and that those lands were taken away. And then, of course, in Western Canada with the scrip system, right? There is a huge question outstanding from Canada of how they're going to fix that and how they're going to remedy that. But that's a question for another day.
Well, how do you, maybe it might be a way that you can work with First Nations in Ontario about land bases, because you're connected, all your ancestry is connected together somewhere,
Yeah.
same as in Quebec.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of the challenge is just politics, modern day politics, and those sorts of things. But we shall overcome. Yeah.
And what, I guess the last question is, what do you hope to see come out of these annual general meeting this 2023?
Sure. There's it's always an opportunity for us to come together, sort of take stock of all the work we've done since last year, right? Get direction from citizens on where did we do well, where did we miss the mark, what more do we need to do, to hear from our citizens. I know there's a few resolutions I've already heard that have been drafted and submitted around enhancing some of our education programming, moving forward with some work around telling the stories of some of our communities in a really exciting way, that if they go forward the way I think they will. So it's going to be an exciting weekend, and it's just it's always just such a good opportunity to, before we go into another year, right, of the hard work of governing, right? The summer we take a little bit of a break, but then we come together here in August and what have we done the last year? What do we need to do this year? And let's gear up for another year of great work. So it's going to be good.
It's going to be an exciting 3 days here that you're going to be.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you, Mitch, for talking to me today.
For sure. Thank you.